Hey, it's Tim with the University of Vinyl. Thank you for tuning in again today. Welcome to episode 2 of the Crown Jewels. This is my new series highlighting 50 of the best sounding records that I have in my collection. Make sure you check out episode 1, which featured Fly By Night by Rush, an amazing sounding record in my collection. And today we are talking about the curious double album comp from Steely Dan. Steely Dan's Greatest Hits. It was released in November of 1978. This is, of course, the record we're talking about, and you saw my earlier little vignette that I assembled. This is an amazing record, ladies and gentlemen, and you want to be sure and find one that has the textured cover, and they're easy to kind of spot. Of course, you do want to find the gatefold version. Later editions of this record came out in a single sleeve, and they were later put out on the MCA label. What you want to find is an early ABC pressing. Now, this was a transition period in 1978. MCA, during the time that this album was being released, MCA concluded their purchase of ABC. So it's curious. You will actually find editions that have an MCA gold stamp on the cover, but the labels still feature that ABC eighth note label, which is what you want to find. You want these earlier labels with the concentric circle on them. You don't want the sky blue or the coral, as they say, MCA labels. The reason being is because the first pressings of this record, and a gazillion of these were pressed, the first pressings were done at Masterdisc by Robert Ludwig. And probably one of the more interesting, collecting rabbit holes that you can go down is trying to find Masterdisc stamped on all four sides with RL's little scrawled RL on each side of this double LP set. I have come across copies that only have one RL, but 4 Masterdisc. I have seen 2 RLs, I have seen 3, and finally I do have a 4-sided Masterdisc RL. Now, I think even if you have one Masterdisc in RL, but Masterdisc is on the other 3 sides of this set, you're probably okay. It's probably a Robert Ludwig mastered version, but there are versions out there that have RL on all 4 sides. So it's a curious thing, why weren't these other pressings, why don't we find the RL in the others? Who knows? But if you have OCD and you tend to have record collecting sickness, then you're going to want to kind of keep searching until you find that 4-sided Masterdisc and RL version. Now, about this record, there are 18 tracks on it. There are, this is taken from the first 6 Steely Dan records, so 1972 all the way up to 1977. 72 is Can't Buy a Thrill. 73, Countdown to Ecstasy. 74, Pretzel Logic. 75, Katie Lied. 76, The Royal Scam. And 77, Asia. Side 4 ends with 2 songs from Asia. That would be Peg and Josie. Now, with the release, the ongoing release of the UHQRs for these original Steely Dan titles from the 70s, and then, of course, we're going to get Gaucho from 1980, it's kind of interesting to do some comparisons. I watched some YouTube videos for the recent release of the Asia UHQR, and by and large, people tend to agree that it is an amazing sounding audiophile version of Asia. But some people did find that UHQR presentation to be a little bit clinical, a little analytical, and maybe lacking, you know, that kind of old school oomph that you get, and drive, and rich middle ground as far as the mids. Some people are saying that they still prefer the AB 1006 version of Asia. Now, the interesting thing about the Greatest Hits package, we know back in 1977 and 78 when this was being compiled, the original master tapes were intact. They were available, and they were all provided to Elliot Shiner at Automat in New York. He was the engineer working on assembling all of these songs that Walter and Donald handpicked themselves. And then the mastering responsibility was given over to Robert Ludwig, who was arguably the leading mastering engineer and one of the legendary mastering engineers in the industry in 1978. Ludwig did a masterful job in level checking all of these tracks. You know, they were cobbled from different master tapes, but he did an amazing job of ensuring that as you go from track 1 to track 2 to track 4 to track 8, from these different presentations of the albums that came from different mastering engineers, everything sounds incredibly balanced, and the sound stage on all of these songs are by and large fantastic. There is great separation of instruments. Many of these album cuts on the Greatest Hits presentation or package, they surpass those counterparts that are on the original albums from the 70s. That's how good this package is, and it's long been known that this is an amazing sounding compilation package. We get this incredible image. This was taken in Amsterdam, actually, during Donald and Walter's press tour in Europe, promoting the Royal Scam in 1976. It's one of their favorite photographs of themselves, and they hand-selected this to be in this package. I love everything on this compilation, but if you had to kind of pull it out of me, I would tell you that the second record is absolutely amazing because it begins with a leftover track that any band would kill to have as a release track on any of their albums. Here at the Western World, it was taken from the Royal Scam sessions, and it's an amazing song. There's a really beautiful piano line by Michael O'Martin that is featured on that song, and if you read a little bit into that song, this is a great book, by the way, The Complete Guide to Their Music. Might be able to find it on Amazon or eBay or a used bookstore. Highly recommended. The second track on that second record in this set is Black Friday from Katy Lied. And there are 3 songs from Katy Lied, Black Friday, Bad Sneakers, and Dr. Wu. And everyone knows the issues that Katy Lied had during the mix down and mastering of that record with the DBX malfunction situation. And with that, on those pressings that are available now for Katy Lied, there is some kind of wish-washy sounds and washed out cymbal sounds that are easily heard on those records. These songs on this Greatest Hits package from Katy Lied are the best that I have ever heard. And that includes the Citizen CD package that came out in '93. So again, this is just a great way to get the best of those first 6 albums in one package. I wish they would have thrown in the FM song from the film. You have to get the FM soundtrack to get that song, and I think it appeared later on, what is it, Gold or Decade, one of those two, or maybe both. Every time I see a copy of this in the bins at used shops, I will habitually double check all 4 sides and see if I have an RL situation. If I find one that has 2 or 3 RLs, I have a very, very difficult time not taking that record home, because these should be shared with people, and they could be great gifts. They could be VCLT, you know, for other folks in the vinyl community, other record collecting friends of yours if they don't already have a copy. Make sure you have a copy of this record. It is indispensable. It is highly recommended. It is one of the best sounding records, albeit a 2 LP set, in my collection. Thanks for watching, everybody, today, and please don't forget to like this video. Perhaps consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate that, and we will see you for episode 3 soon.